Hey everybody, thank you for buying one of our package deals of our tasting flights. In the next couple minutes I'm going to go through some tasting notes and how we taste them, what we pull out of them. But at first, what we always like to do in our tasting room is give you kind of a background as to how we started the process. We feel like it's a really important thing for everybody to know, and we're all pretty in love with 291 with this story. So 291 has been a distillery now for about 8 years altogether in the Colorado Springs area. We are probably one of the longest running ones in Colorado Springs. The owner is a man named Michael Myers. As many of you guys know, he's not Austin Powers or the serial killer, even though his name is Jason Michael Myers. It would be really funny, but at least he's always got a good costume for Halloween. Michael was a fashion beauty photographer in New York City for a long time, so he shot for Allure magazine, Vanity Fair, Estee Lauder. We have a Sam Elliott photo in the tasting room that's about 20 to 30 years old, and if you ever watch us on the ranch, you can definitely see from season 1 to Sam Elliott and Ashton Kutcher and everybody are always drinking 291 whiskey. You'll see us on a couple different shows too, so let us know if you guys have seen us yet. In 2001, Michael lived about 3 blocks away from the World Trade Center with his 2 boys who were under the age of 5 and his wife. They lived about on the 34th floor of their building, so pretty close, probably a beautiful view at that time. But on 9/11, Michael had to walk his boy to school when the first plane crashed into the building. Obviously, that's a very traumatic time for us as a nation, and I'm pretty sure it was hard for him and his boys to see that. Fortunately, everybody was safe and was able to get out of that area. The only bad thing is that they just were not able to go back to their apartment at that time. So they were looking for a different place to go, and his in-laws lived in the Colorado Springs area, and they decided that this was going to be a good place for them to kind of like reset. The only bad part about that is that Michael was not able to do fashion beauty photography in the Colorado Springs area. If you've never visited Colorado Springs, it's very different than New York City. So Michael's life for a long time was getting on a plane Monday morning, flying out to New York, doing a bunch of photo shoots, coming back Friday night, and then hanging out with his kids for a couple days, and then doing it all over again. He did that for quite a few years. And I know I've flown to New York City. It's pretty tiring, and I can only imagine doing that weekly. Seems like a lot. Michael felt like it was just really wearing on his time and his health and being with his family. He loves his boys. He feels like that is his life. If there was one last day, he would definitely want to spend it with his boys, no matter where it was at. So Michael was kind of looking for a different career path to keep him kind of closer to his family. And he was flying back from a Vanity Fair shoot when he read an article in the New York Times about Hendrick's Gin and Sailor Jerry Rum, and how the owner of those 2 spirits actually had nothing to do with alcohol prior to that, which is crazy because you see Hendrick's Gin and Sailor Jerry Rum everywhere. Sorry about that, guys. So the article was basically talking about his life and how he did marketing for a magazine prior to even creating those 2 spirits. And when Michael read that, he was like, this is awesome. This guy and I pretty much have very similar lifestyles, and it's awesome that he just quit his job and decided to do something completely different. And that kind of stuck with Michael. It kind of lit a little light bulb off. So for a while, Michael thought that he would love to brand a whiskey, and eventually somebody asked him, why don't you just make your own? And that kind of stuck with Michael. Being raised in southern Georgia, I'm sure he saw a bunch of people moonshining and making whiskey in the backwoods of that area. At this point, I think that whiskey is definitely running in Michael's blood. I don't know if he has a real blood type or a whiskey blood type, but it kind of stuck with him, and he decided that that was going to be his next move. So it took him a little bit longer to quit his international photography business, but he did, and he decided that Colorado Springs was going to be the area to start his new distillery. You've got to do a couple different things in order to start that. The first thing is that you've got to have a location. So right now what we're in is about 7,500 square feet. Our tasting room is about the size of what Michael started with, so about 339 square feet altogether. So very, very tiny. It was in a basement room of a building that's pretty much next door to us over here. Our location, the next thing to do was get your DSP, so a distillery license. That usually takes about 8 months altogether. Michael did it in about a quarter of the time, so about 6 weeks altogether. He always jokes and says that if he did not make any good whiskey, at least he could fill out some paperwork for people who do, which is always great because either way you're drinking whiskey. The third thing, and the coolest thing that we've got, is that you have to have equipment. Michael looked at a brand new still, realized that it was going to be about $50,000 for a brand new still, which is really unrealistic to him at that time. I don't know anybody else who would really be able to do that. And being that he's never homebrewed before in his life, that's a pretty big jump. So he looked into building his own. Realized that all you really need were copper plates and somebody to weld them together. And Michael's photography career actually kind of helped him out moving forward on our 291 career path. He did a whole art show around something called photogravure. So photogravure is taking a copper plate, getting an image engraved into it, and then getting a couple prints out of it. These images behind me are actually from Michael's photogravure art show, which is such a beautiful thing. It was basically a story describing his life. So because he had those copper plates lying around, he got them sent over from New York, and him and his friend decided to measure them out, weld them together, and turn them into our first still. I know that you guys aren't here right now, but if you were to come into our distillery, we would show you that the new still, or the still that we are using, our very first still, has some amazing engraving still on it, which is really, really beautiful. It's made up of about 6 or 7 pieces altogether, which is such a beautiful thing. I think that's why our whiskey is really, really good, because everything has touched that still from day one. It's got a lot of love and passion from his past life and bringing it over into his future. But Michael pretty much had everything lined up and decided that he needed to kind of create his own little mash bill. His favorite rye is Tom's Handy, so he was very, very inspired by that type. He wanted to do a very stand-up cowboy whiskey, very westernized, very bold, beautiful, much like Colorado. So because of that, he made his own mash bill, practiced a couple few runs, released his first clear out of the still on 9/11 in 2011. He had taken it to a distillery event, and there's a couple people there who were able to try it. They were like, "This is amazing. You need to start aging it and bottling it now." So Michael obviously has done something right and created this beautiful spirit. So he had to definitely create a name for his brand. And 291 was kind of a number that popped up pretty often for him. So when he was studying photography in school, he read an article about the first art gallery in the world to take photography as a high-end art. And that was Art Gallery 291 on Avenue 291 in New York City. But when he was reading the art gallery interview, or I should say research paper, he was living in dorm room 291, so it was a number that was very, very important for him at that time, and ever since then we've pretty much always noticed 291 popping up. That's a really cool, inspirational thing, and he feels like that means a lot to him. He also says that, being in a dark room and taking pretty much a raw image and turning it into a beautiful print is very, very, very similar to being in a distillery and taking raw grains and turning it into a beautiful spirit. The only positive thing now is that you can drink it, which is always really fun. So since then, Michael has been pretty successful in where we're at. We've won World's Best Rye in 2018. This year we won America's Best New Make with our White Dog, which is our unaged rye. Pretty much all of our bottles have won an award. We've won a couple different awards as a distillery. We have bumped up now to about a team of 14, which doesn't seem like a lot, but Michael started by himself or with a couple different friends after a while. His first employee was hired 3 years after. So since then, we've just kind of been up and running, and we're able to try about 8 different spirits on your guys' flagship, which is really awesome. Being that we've only been running for about 8 years, that's an amazing thing. All the awards we've won for an 8-year thing, that's pretty impressive. So I really hope that you guys enjoy 291 as much as we do as our family, and I really hope that you guys know that once you drink 291, you're family. So I know that you're in the crew now. I hope that you guys enjoy this. Let us know if you need it. Hey 291 family, thanks for buying our package number 2, our Colorado Rye Whiskey package. You guys are going to go through about 4 different kinds that we've got on our flagship. So our mash bill for our ryes is going to be 61% malted rye, 39% corn. We're just going to do some quick little tasters of these guys. Hopefully you're with your friends enjoying everything. The ryes are definitely my favorite, so I will drink these all day, every day with you guys. So our first one that we're going to start with is going to be our Colorado Rye Whiskey, our White Dog. This is one of those unaged cocktailing spirits. It comes out of the still, but it does have to hit a barrel in order to get that rye whiskey name in it. So it hits it for less than a week. It is going to be very distinct and very different. If you think of rye bread, it's very, very weird and funky, and that's kind of the same thing when we try rye whiskey, especially that unaged. It's going to be cut with water and brought down to 101.7 proof. You're going to have more of that moonshiny kind of smell to it, and the taste is completely different. It's sometimes undescribable, as some people say. I get more of that artificial candy taste, but a lot of people have different flavor profiles. So if you guys don't really know how you feel about this one, neat. Try it in a cocktail. We infuse it a lot. Right now we've done some cranberry cocktails, some blueberry basil infusions, pretty much anything and everything. It's probably one of my favorites of the clear spirits to start cocktailing with. I hope you guys enjoy it. Alright guys, now we're going to move on to our actual ryes. The next two are going to be aged for just about a year in those 10-gallon virgin white American oak barrels. We do a very heavy level char on the inside, so about a level 4. It's more of that alligator skin, making sure that we're getting a lot of that caramelized taste out of that oak barrel. We do a 3-week Aspen Stave Finish, which nobody really understands what an Aspen Stave Finish is, so we're always here to explain it and give you some education on that. We take aspen staves like this, char it in the back with aspen charcoal, and then throw them into the barrel for the last 3 weeks of their life in that barrel. It's going to give you more of that like minty green taste on the front half, and then a lot of those baking spices are going to get kicked up on the first half, or the back half. Your first one is going to be that small batch rye whiskey. This guy is aged for just about a year in those 10-gallon barrels with that 3-week Aspen Stave Finish, cut with water and brought down to 101.7 proof. In 2018, we won World's Best Rye with our rye single barrel. Now we've moved over to our small batch, which is a little bit more consistent. We're producing a lot more. It's really, really sweet. I loved our single barrel, and I did not think that we can get any barrel better, so I'm actually very surprised. This small batch is phenomenal. You're going to have those really nice like heat, kind of spiciness, but finishing with a little bit more of that sweeterness on the back half. Hopefully you drink this one, guys. So I always say that I have a couple different favorites out of our flagship, but this one is definitely my all-time favorite. If I was going to be stuck anywhere on an island, I would wish that I would have this Colorado 291 barrel proof. So this is going to be our barrel proof rye, aged for just about a year in those 10-gallon barrels with that 3-week Aspen Stave Finish. Not cut with water, so it usually ranges from 126 to 129 proof. The one that you guys are going to try, ours at least, is going to be 127.9. When Michael started 291, he really wanted a very cowboy westernized whiskey. So you come into a stand-up bar, you get a shot of whiskey. Hopefully it's a little bit more refined at this point. Hopefully you rode your horse here too. But this is definitely the staple piece. A cool thing about our barrel proofs as well is Michael, because he loves them so much, signs every single one of these. We do hand labels, hand bottles, hand stickers, anything and everything hand done. We want to make sure that we're giving a lot of love to the community as much as they're giving us love. So this guy is definitely my favorite. You're going to get a lot of that like rye bread, kind of French toast with that maple syrup on the back half finish. Take your time with this one. Don't drink the whole bottle too fast. It is definitely delicious. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Right. So your last one of our rye package is going to be the Decc. This guy's more of your dessert. It's kind of like your finisher. It's a lot different than the rest of the bottle, so this guy kind of has a funny story to it. We go to a lot of distillery events, and one of them is up in Breckenridge called Still on the Hill. If you've never been, you should check it out. If not, find another little distillery event that's around you, and they're all fun. But our event up there is people going in, trying your cocktails or your spirits. You have one cocktail, and they can vote people's choice for that one. So that year, Michael was going to go and serve whiskeritas, which is our version of a margarita. We tend to do it in a slushy form. It's really good. It's really light. But the day of the event, Michael woke up and saw snow on the ground and decided that, you know, a slushy drink is not very good on a slushy day. I think of margaritas on a beach, not so much on the slopes. So when Michael got there, he decided to scrap that idea. And he drove around, was trying to relate some kind of flavor profile or memory to snow, and wound up at the grocery store, picked up some citrus, some clove, and a couple different spices. Went back to his hotel room, grabbed his Mr. Coffee Pot, and started processing it from his Mr. Coffee Pot. It's very, very funny just because we are fortunate that we're not doing 1,000 Mr. Coffee pots back there at this point. If we were, I would have a lot more coffee in my life. So Michael took it to the event. We won People's Choice, and we decided that it was going to be bottled. He called it the Decc because the first time that he drank it, he was like, wow, this is so good, you can drink it on the deck, but if you drink too much, you hit the deck. Liqueurs are typically at 40 proof, and this guy's going to be at 70, so it's a little bit higher power, but it is delicious. It's like Christmas in a cup. You can warm it up, put it in wassail, you can do a hot toddy with it, drink it over ice, you can bake with it, pretty much anything and everything you want to do, the Decc can do for you. Let's pour that and try that, and that's your dessert. Alright guys, so we are all done with our flights. I hope that you guys really enjoyed them and you had such a good time. I know I always do every time I do a flight. I would love for you guys to come in and check us out if you're in the Colorado Springs area. Buy some bottles from us at this point. Once we're up and running, come do a tasting flight with me. But if you are not in the Colorado Springs area, check out Reserve Bar or your local liquor stores. 291 is in as many places as we can get into at this point. If you are from out of state, check our website. You can find the local liquor store that's closest to you that has us. If you guys would, I really hope that you guys enjoyed our flights. I think that I would love to hear from you and know which one your favorite is. We love interacting with the people who are 291 fans. We always say once you drink 291, you're family at this point. So connect with us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, whatever you think. We're always here for you. I know this time's a little bit harder and we're really trying to make everything happy. Please hashtag 291 family. Hashtag your quarantine cocktails if you got any cocktails going on. Send us pictures, anything and everything that you want to do. We're here for you. Hopefully we see you soon. Bye.